everybody, hope you guys are healthy and safe. So a lot of you guys have been asking for it, so here it is. This is a camera comparison between the Xiaomi Mi 11 Ultra and the Samsung Galaxy S21 Ultra and the Huawei Mate X2. These are probably the three most powerful camera systems right now. Now, I think the OnePlus 9 Pro and the Oppo Find X3 Pro have really good cameras too, but they just don't have the zoom lens to compete in this race. So let's go over the camera hardware really quick. So Xiaomi Mi 11 Ultra, the headline camera is a 50 megapixel Samsung GN2 sensor with an image sensor size of 1/1.12 inch. This is the largest image sensor size in the industry right now. More on that later. The Samsung Galaxy S21 Ultra's main camera, it's a 108 megapixel sensor with a 1/1.33 inch image sensor. So pretty large, but not as large as what's seen on the Mi 11 Ultra. The Huawei Mate X2's main camera, it's a 50 megapixel sensor with a 1/1.28 inch image sensor. So the image sensor size of the Mate X2 is just between the S21 Ultra, which is the smallest, and the Xiaomi Mi 11 Ultra, which is the biggest. Now both the Mi 11 Ultra and the Mate X2, they both have 50 megapixel sensors, but they shoot pixel bin photos that come out to 12.5 megapixels. Now moving to the ultra wide angle camera, the Mi 11 Ultra has a 48 megapixel ultra wide angle camera, S21 Ultra has a 12 megapixel ultra wide, and the Huawei Mate X2 has a 16 megapixel ultra wide. Now again, Xiaomi is using pixel binning with the ultra wide camera, so 48 megapixel sensor, but the final photo is actually just 12 megapixels. Now look at the zoom lens. The Xiaomi Mi 11 Ultra only has one zoom lens. It is a 48 megapixel periscope zoom lens. Again, it shoots pixel bin 12 megapixel photos and it offers 5 times lossless optical zoom. Now this is where Huawei and Samsung is going to one-up Xiaomi a little bit because they have two zoom lenses covering the long and the short focal lengths. So both of these phones have 10 megapixel periscope zoom lens that can produce 10 times optical zoom. The Xiaomi Mi 11 Ultra is only 5 times optical zoom. And there's also a secondary 3 times telephoto zoom lens here to cover that shorter focal length. Now just going by camera hardware numbers, you should be able to tell some things already. For example, the Galaxy S21 Ultra has the smallest image sensor size, yet it has the most pixels to fill. So that means naturally, just going by hardware science, you already know the S21 Ultra's camera, it's not going to be able to pull in as much light as the other two cameras. Likewise, the Xiaomi Mi 11 Ultra only has one zoom lens and it's a 5 times optical zoom. So that means anything between 1.1x and 4.9x, it's completely digital zoom. But anyway, enough talking, let's get on to the results. I've actually already examined the photos for about an hour and a half downstairs earlier on my bigger screen, but now I'm just gonna go over them again on my laptop here just to explain what I see with my eyes. Okay, so looking at the first set of photos here, all three of these photos are taken by the main camera, you know, in a relatively easy shooting condition, a lot of natural light. So all three photos are going to look really good and really sharp. I do notice that Huawei's image has this yellowish tint that is not there in the other two photos, and that's going to be a recurring theme. Huawei's images just tend to be a little bit warmer with that yellow tint during the day. I think it's mostly probably because that phone's camera has an RYYB filtering array, which I'll explain later. It also benefits Huawei when the sun sets too. But just looking at these three photos, it really comes down to color science. You compare the colors of this wall in the Huawei Mate X2 image, it just doesn't look as vibrant as what you get from the Xiaomi Mi 11 Ultra's image on the left and the Samsung Galaxy S21 Ultra's image on the right. Now let's go into actual size. So another thing to look for is look out the window, see where the light comes in and see how it handles that relatively harsh lighting. And I can see that the Mi 11 Ultra seems to have the best exposure of the three. Yeah, it seems like the Mi 11 Ultra's image definitely exposes the light coming through the windows the best. Now likewise with this second set of images here captured with the main camera, you see once again the Huawei image is by far the most yellow, warm, whereas the other two are quite similar. Now one thing I do notice is that if I actually pixel peep and jump into the photos looking at actual size, you see that most of the time the Xiaomi Mi 11 Ultra's image is just sharper than the other two. The Galaxy S21 Ultra in the middle completely really blurred out my friend here. Now moving on to my girlfriend right here, same thing. You can see the Mi 11 Ultra's image is just sharper. You can see the texture in her hair right here. A little bit better than on the S21 Ultra, which is completely how soft and detailed. Now the Mi X2 looks pretty good too, but it just looks a little bit yellow. And also, ooh, look at this over processing on my girlfriend's hand. She's not gonna like this. This is not how a hand looks like in real life, by the way. Definitely the Xiaomi Mi 11 Ultra wins this picture if you ask my girlfriend. Alright, now let's move on to something a little bit more challenging. So for this next set, I purposely shot against really harsh light. You know, basically it was like 2 p.m. and the sun was shining right at me. So this is a really tough shot for the most part. So you see all three have relatively respectable dynamic range considering how tough the shooting situation is. The S21 Ultra in the middle does look the darkest. Okay, let's move on to nighttime photography with the main camera. These are all point and shoot without night mode. So we have the Xiaomi Mi 11 Ultra image down here, Galaxy S21 here, and the Huawei Mate X2 here. You see, like I said, the S21 Ultra's image is the darkest by far if you look at the three, because it has the smallest image sensor size and it has the most pixels to fill. So yeah, in particular, if you look down at the bottom right corner of the photo, you see the Xiaomi Mi 11 Ultra lit up this rooftop quite well, whereas the S21 Ultra drenched it completely in shadows and the Mi X2 did a decent job. Let's just eliminate the S21 Ultra from contention right now because it definitely looks the worst of the three. Let's compare the Mi X2 against the Mi 11 Ultra. So the Mi 11 Ultra has a larger image sensor size, but the Huawei Mi X2 has that RYYB filtering array. So the RYYB filtering array is Huawei's invention. It basically traditional digital photography, digital cameras, they all use RGB filtering arrays. That's red, green, and blue. But Huawei decided to use RYYB, which is red, yellow, yellow, blue. So using two yellows instead of green helps Huawei cameras pull in more light. This is technology that Huawei first introduced to the Huawei P30 Pro, and if you remember, that phone completely kicked everybody else's butt in terms of pulling in light. Going to actual size, yeah, the Mi X2's image is actually a little bit sharper if you look down on this highway right here. And let's look at the lights down here. Yeah, I find that the Mi X2 also exposes the light in the swimming pool a little bit better than the Xiaomi Mi 11 Ultra. Let's look at another set of night shot overlooking Kowloon district of Hong Kong. And once again, the S21 Ultra image right here is the darkest of the three and the noisiest too. You jump in, you see there's quite a bit of noise in the sky, and the lights here are all blurry. So we can eliminate the S21 Ultra again. Let's look at the Huawei Mate X2. The sky looks a little bit cleaner. The buildings look quite sharp right here. The Mi 11 Ultra, same thing. Quality of these two shots are really close this time around. Okay, that's about it for the main camera as far as regular photography. I will have video coming later. I'm just gonna cover all the still photos first. Next up, let's move to the ultra wide angle camera. So all three of these ultra wide angle cameras have very similar field of view at around 112 degrees. All three photos are quite sharp with minimal distortion. Once again, you see Huawei's ultra wide has a little bit of a yellowish tone, but sharpness looks good, especially if you go into the brick walls here. Now let's check out the S21 Ultra. Looks good too. Xiaomi Mi 11 Ultra. Yeah, all three of these look really good. Let's put them side by side just to pixel peep. Like, we're getting into nitpicking territory here because honestly, if you're taking ultra wide angle photos, nobody's gonna be, you know, zooming in this close just to examine, but we're gonna do it anyway. And you can see that the S21 Ultra shot seems to be the sharpest. Let's look at another set of ultra wide angle photos. Again, all three of these look really damn good. So this is the Xiaomi Mi 11 Ultra. Once again, this second set, if you zoom in a little bit and pixel peep, you see that the S21 Ultra's ultra wide tends to be the sharpest of the three. You'll notice the patio right here, it's quite soft on the Mi X2 and on the Mi 11. Mi 11's a little bit better than the Mi X2, but the S21 Ultra seems to be the sharpest. There's also more digital processing though, like as you can tell from these plants here. But still, going by my rules, the S21 Ultra's ultra wide angle camera seems the best so far. But that's during the day. Now let's check out ultra wide at night. Okay, so right off the bat, you see the Huawei Mate X2's ultra wide angle camera suffers quite a lot in low light condition. It just looks noticeably noisy and soft in details and dim compared to the other two shots. So I think we can eliminate the ultra wide angle camera of the Mate X2. That's going to be a recurring theme later. The Mate X2's ultra wide angle camera is actually not that good. We'll see when we move to the video section too. Now let's just look at the Mi 11 Ultra against the S21 Ultra at night. But yeah, zooming into 100%, It's really close to call. I do think the Mate, yeah, zooming to 100%, it is very close to call. I do think the S21 Ultra probably has more noise, slightly more noise than the Mi 11 Ultra's image. Basically, the S21 Ultra and the Mi 11 Ultra's ultra wide are both very damn good. Next up, let's move to zooming. So like I said from the beginning, the Xiaomi Mi 11 Ultra zoom system lacks the versatility of the Mi X2 and the S21 Ultra. Right here, I'm trying to take a portrait of my girlfriend, and you can see that with the Huawei and Samsung phones, I can just tap that button once and it jumps straight into a framing that's quite natural for portraits. Whereas the Xiaomi, it goes into 5 times, which is a little bit too close. Then I have to back up a little bit. Now, of course, the Huawei and Samsung's 3 times shot is an optical zoom, so it's going to be sharper than Xiaomi's. And you can tell as soon as you zoom into the hair of my girlfriend, you can see the individual strands and texture of the hair of my girlfriend on Samsung's image in the middle and Huawei's image on the right. Let's move on to something more fun, which is 10 times, 30 times, 100 times zoom. Now, all 3 phones can capture really sharp 10 times zoom. Even though Xiaomi's 10 times is not optical, it's just digital zoom, it still holds up quite well just looking at all 3 images on a phone screen. It's only when you blow them up on a computer screen and then you have to go into actual size to pixel peep that you see that falls a little bit short in terms of sharpness. I think for this particular image of this building, the Huawei image is clearly the sharpest when you jump into 100% and just examine. It also has the best colors too. So I think the 10 times zoom right here, it's a clear win for the Huawei Mate X2. It's the same story here in this other set. Look at the Huawei 10 times zooms photo. It's noticeably sharper than the Galaxy S21 Ultra's 10 times zoom and Xiaomi's 10 times zoom, and also the colors are more accurate too. Now, jumping into 30 times zoom, surprisingly, I think all 3 images look very similar. That edge that Huawei had over the other 2 phones in the 10 times zoom category, it's no longer there. If you actually jump into actual size, all 3 images are, equally slightly blurry and blotchy. This is 30 times zoom. You can't expect much better, to be honest. Same thing with 100 times zoom. All 3 of these images are borderline unusable, although I have to give the win to Samsung because Samsung's zooming lens has this really cool focus lock, zoom lock system that automatically locks onto a subject. So that means when I have something zoomed at 100x, I can still keep the viewfinder relatively steady, whereas on the Xiaomi Mi 11 Ultra or on the Huawei Mate X2, it is shake city. Okay, next up, let's look at niche shooting modes like macro lens. So all 3 phones have macro modes, but the Xiaomi Mi 11, it's the dumbest of the 3. So both the Huawei Mate X2 and the Samsung Galaxy S21 Ultra will automatically turn on macro mode as soon as you bring your phone close to something. On the Xiaomi Mi 11 Ultra, you have to turn on macro mode yourself. And on top of that, as you can see here, clearly the Xiaomi Mi 11 Ultra cannot get as close to the subject without losing focus. If you're just talking about purely macro photography here, the Xiaomi Mi 11 Ultra shot is not even really a macro shot. So just eliminate it from contention and just look at the other 2. If you're comparing these 2, then yeah, the Huawei Mate X2's macro lens clearly beats the S21 Ultra's macro lens too. So it's kind of interesting. The Huawei Mate X2 lost the first couple of categories when it comes to the main camera performance during the day, but then once you move to more challenging situations like night photography and macro lens photography, then the Huawei Mate X2 is actually making a comeback and racking up consecutive wins. Okay, now let's look at video performance. Okay, so this is a main camera 4K 30 footage shot with the Xiaomi Mi 11 Ultra. Okay, so this is main camera 4K 30 footage shot with the S21 Ultra. Okay, so this is main camera footage 4K 30 shot with the Huawei Mate X2. So all 3 phones' main camera can capture really damn good video performance. If I really have to nitpick, I would give the edge to the S21 Ultra in stabilization, but I would give the Xiaomi Mi 11 Ultra the win in colors and dynamic range. Now let's look at the ultra wide angle camera. So, okay, this is ultra wide angle footage with the Xiaomi Mi 11 Ultra. Ultra wide angle camera. Okay, this is ultra wide angle camera of the Galaxy S21 Ultra. Ultra wide angle camera. Okay, this is ultra wide angle camera with the Huawei Mate X2. Ultra wide angle camera. So right away, we're just gonna eliminate the Huawei Mate X2 because stabilization is pretty bad as I'm walking. Look at how jerky this is. If you look at the Xiaomi Mi 11 Ultra and Samsung Galaxy S21 Ultra's footage, video is much more stable. So just on virtue of that, Huawei is eliminated, and then we're down to Samsung and Xiaomi once again. Okay, next up, selfie video. Okay, this is selfie video footage shot with the Xiaomi Mi 11 Ultra. Selfie video footage. Okay, this is selfie video footage shot with the Galaxy S21 Ultra. Selfie video footage. Okay, this is selfie video footage shot with the Huawei Mate X2. Selfie video footage. I think you guys would agree that the Xiaomi Mi 11 Ultra won this one because the Galaxy S21 Ultra kept my face kind of dark, drenched in shadows again, whereas the Huawei Mate X2 kind of blowed out the sky behind me, and again, stabilization is not as good. So the Xiaomi Mi 11 Ultra is the phone you want to use if you're making video calls and you're walking down the street. Okay, so after examining all the photos and images, it's quite interesting. It seems like each phone is really good at one thing. Like the Huawei Mate X2 still is the low light king in my opinion, even though the Xiaomi Mi 11 Ultra has a larger image sensor. But then when it comes to shooting photos of the main camera during the day, the Huawei Mate X2 has this weird yellow tint that I'm just not a fan of. And if we're comparing just the S21 Ultra and the Mi 11 Ultra, I tend to like the Mi 11 Ultra's main camera footage the best. But then if you jump to the ultra wide angle camera, then the S21 Ultra, generally speaking, has a better ultra wide angle camera in terms of both photos and videos than the Xiaomi and Huawei phones. I think overall, if I have to pick a winner, I would pick Xiaomi because I think in areas that it wins quite convincingly, but then in areas that it only loses a little bit. It doesn't completely get killed like Samsung in low light and Huawei in video stabilization. So I think the Xiaomi Mi 11 Ultra is the most balanced all around. But then if you take macro photography, the Xiaomi Mi 11's macro mode is not even a real macro mode. And if you want to take portraits of your friends a lot, you know, of your partner or of your dog or something, the S21 Ultra and the Mi X2 will capture a better 3x zoom portrait than the Xiaomi Mi 11 Ultra. But you know what, ultimately this is just an exercise in nitpicking because really all three of these cameras are really damn good. Even the worst one here, whichever one that may be, is still much better than what this camera can shoot in low light, better stabilization in this camera, and better than, you know, any phone from 2019 or 2020. These are definitely the three powerhouse camera phones of 2021 so far. And it's hard to see anyone topping it until maybe like the iPhone 13 or like the next Samsung phone, like the Galaxy Note 21 Ultra or something. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I spent quite a lot of time on it, so I hope you guys, you know, give it a thumbs up or give me a subscribe. Or maybe follow me on Instagram at Ben's Gadget Reviews. I have a lot more photo samples that I post on my Instagram all the time. So I have more content coming up in the next couple of days. It's gonna be an endless work week for me. So please stay tuned. And yeah, please subscribe to my channel so you can keep up to date with all the latest gadgets out of China, out of Korea, out of, you know, Japan and the US. I'm probably gonna get my hand on a Xiaomi Mi Mix Fold sometime this month too, so stay tuned. That's it for now. Thanks for watching.